Inside the Magic, show number 339 for October 2nd, 2011.
Hi, pal. Time to wake up. Oh, gosh, there's so many swell things going on all around our world today. We're celebrating our anniversary, you know. So, you get ready, and we'll see you soon, okay? So long.
It is Sunday, October 2nd, 2011. This is show 339 of Inside the Magic, and as always, I am your host, Ricky Briganti. Got another great show packed with Disney and theme park news and a whole lot more fun. And before we get started, I invite you, as always, to visit InsideTheMagic.net. There you'll find all of our podcasts, videos, photos, news articles, and a whole lot more. And if you ever have any news, tips, or questions, you can write to me at ricky@InsideTheMagic.net, or you can call and leave a message at 407-494-4ITM. That's 4486. And now, let's get on with the show. This week's episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by Magical Travel. Don't let this deal get away. Walt Disney World free dining offer for select dates from October 1st, which is yesterday, all the way through March 29th, 2012. Book now for the best availability. The offer expires at the end of the month, actually just a little bit before October 29th, so you're going to want to hurry and call Magical Travel today at 866-207-8387, or visit them online at magicaltravel.com to receive a free price quote, and be sure to mention Inside the Magic when you receive your, or rather when you're calling in order to receive your free Disney gift card for qualifying bookings when you book your Disney vacation with Magical Travel. And by audible.com, you can receive a free audiobook download over at audibletrial.com/InsideTheMagic. They have over 85,000 titles to choose from for your iPod or MP3 player. And very big thanks to Robert Ton and all of our monthly recurring donation subscribers, or anybody who clicks through our affiliate links over at InsideTheMagic.net. It helps us run the show and get all the nifty new equipment that we use to make InsideTheMagic.net and everything else all the better. So thanks very much for that. And now let's start off the show with our trip around the world. So here we are. It is 40th anniversary weekend for Walt Disney World. Certainly a big weekend, and that's something we're going to be talking about more a little bit later in the show. Actually, before we get into this week's news and talking about all of that, I actually want to mention that there's many of you in the chat room right now as we record the show live. We also, of course, there's a video version that you all are watching that are in the chat room right now. But any of you who are watching later or listening later, of course, it's always available on InsideTheMagic.net. This show is every week. And I just wanted to kind of say a welcome to all of our new listeners and all of our new viewers. Actually, in the past few days, I've been to the local parks here in Orlando many times, as there's been a lot going on. And I've been stopped by many people, and a surprisingly large number have said that they've either recognized me or they've been watching the YouTube version of this show. Of course, Inside the Magic started about 6.5 years ago as an audio podcast only, and it was only within the last few months that I started recording video of me sitting here, recording the show, just as I have been doing for so many years. I figured, why not fire up a video camera and record it while we're doing it and have the live chat and all of that. So it's great to hear when I meet people in the parks that you are enjoying the video version of this show. Of course, in addition to being live at InsideTheMagic.net/live every week, the video replays are then available usually about a day or two later. Sometimes I get it up that night, but usually I post them a day or two later. So if you ever want to go back and watch the video versions, which not only includes a video of me sitting here talking for an hour plus every week, but also I throw in plenty of images while I'm talking about the news and some of the other subjects, and some video as well, and a lot of the interviews and that kind of thing. So certainly a different option in order to enjoy Inside the Magic. Just another way to do it, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. With that said, I did mention that the last few days here in Orlando have been very busy. Lots and lots of special events, and I'm not going to be able to cram them all into one week. I wouldn't want to. I'd rather spend some time and really cover them in depth over the next couple of weeks. So this week, there's a couple events that I did already write about over at InsideTheMagic.net that I've certainly covered, and I certainly will be talking talking about here on the show, but it is just, not quite time to talk about it yet. This week, I am referring to first the Room for One More dinner event that took place at the Contemporary Resort just a few nights ago. This was a Haunted Mansion themed event that I attended Friday night. Really, really incredible event. I'd love to tell you all about it right now, but that's not what I'm going to be doing this week. I think I'll be doing that next week on the show, so you'll have to wait for that. Of course, if you do want to report from that event along with plenty of video, you can already go over to our website and see it there. For lots of highlights and photos and all of that kind of thing. And then I'll talk about it probably on next week's show. In addition, also, the night before that was what the Disney Parks blog called a Trick or Meetup, a special free after-hours event at the Magic Kingdom, Haunted Mansion themed as well. And again, that is something I am not going to be talking about this week, but you can go over to the website and check it out. And then next week, I'll probably talk about that as well. But I will say it was a very, very fun time. So look forward to hearing all about that on next week's show. But now let's talk about this week's show, and there is some news to get to. First up, of course, yesterday, Walt Disney World celebrated its 40th anniversary, and there's going to be a lot more to talk about the 40th anniversary celebration later in this week's show, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we're going to move on to a different subject, and that is something else that started up just a couple of days ago over at Epcot. It is the annual International Food and Wine Festival. It's running now daily through November 13th, and this year Disney's doing a few new things for the Food and Wine Festival. One of my favorite times of year. I always love going over there. Haven't made it there yet. I had to try all the food because the opening weekend is always just so crowded. I tend to just completely skip it, that on top of the fact that I have about a million other things going on right now and have for the last few days. Simply no time, but I'll probably go over there for dinner sometime this week. But new for the 2011 Epcot International Food and Wine Festival is a mobile guide that you can access on any web-enabled mobile device. You're actually, as you're walking through the park and you look at the menus for the Food and Wine Festival this year, you'll see a little Spaceship Earth-shaped QR code. And so you can use a QR reader on your mobile device to scan that, and it'll pull up this free app on your phone. It's not a downloadable app. Don't go to the App Store and download one. There's some third-party ones out there, but that is not Disney's. Those are not Disney's. This one is free. It's web-based, and it gives you access to the menus from all the countries and the stops around the Food and Wine Festival. Also, prices and concert listings and special events. Also gives you the ability to post updates to Twitter and Facebook about the Food and Wine Festival, what you thought of the different foods, and Disney's actually pulling all of that together, not only on their website, but Epcot has a new high-definition tip board where you see all the wait times, and they've devoted a section to that tip board, kind of in the middle of Future World, to anybody who tags, uses a special hashtag. I think it's Epcot FW11. If you use that on Twitter, your message automatically shows up right there in the park, which I think is kind of interesting. You can say just about anything, and it shows up there, which is, again, interesting, but if you're talking about the food there, then it's a lot of fun. So I'm eagerly looking forward to making it out to the Food and Wine Festival this year to try all the new samplings that are there. Continuing on with Food and Wine, actually just here for a moment, Chef Kat Cora, who we talked to quite some time ago here on the show. She's an Iron Chef on the Food Network, etc. Unfortunately, she has canceled her appearance for the International Food and Wine Festival this year. In her place, on Friday, October 28th at 10 a.m. is going to be Charles Maddox, who is best known as the Poor Chef. So if you were looking forward to seeing Kat Cora, it is not going to happen this year, at least at the Food and Wine Festival. You never know. She might pop into her restaurant, Cuisina, out here at Walt Disney World, though, which is over at the Boardwalk and a tasty place to eat. So, they're actually, despite all of the special events that were going on this week, there wasn't a ton of news. I mean, there's a lot of events going on, which is always fantastic, but not that much to report on in the world of Disney news. So already, I'm kind of out of things to report on for Walt Disney World. However, that's not it for Orlando theme parks. Here's something interesting for you Harry Potter fans out there, of which I know there are many. A few months ago, Universal Orlando and Warner Brothers had announced a Harry Potter celebration that was coming to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. It's going to be November 11th through 13th, and you had to buy the special vacation package in order to attend this event, which will include some of the celebrities from the Harry Potter films. Well, Universal Orlando this week also unveiled a sweepstakes in which which 1,005 chances to attend this will be given out for annual pass holders. You have to be a Universal Orlando annual pass holder to enter in. You can go to universalorlando.com/AP sweeps, and 5 grand prize winners will receive an all-expenses paid vacation for a few days, along with full access to the event. But then another 1,000 pass holders will have a chance to attend a cast member, Harry Potter cast member Q&A session during the event. So not a bad giveaway for pass holders. And continuing on, let's actually jump coasts now to... well, actually, before we do that, we might as well stay in Orlando, where last week I talked about both Halloween Horror Nights and Howl-O-Scream over at Busch Gardens at the second half of last week's long show. And I just wanted to mention real quick that for Howl-O-Scream, I have posted a complete video and photos and write-up and review of that event for Busch Gardens Tampa Bay over at InsideTheMagic.net. So if you're interested in seeing more from Busch Gardens Halloween event, head on over to the website. I had a fun time putting that video together, and if you're a fan of that type of event, I think you will enjoy the video featuring a lot of zombies very much. And sticking with Orlando here, before we jump to the other coast, I also recently added a complete review along with video and photos, as always, of the Sea Venture underwater helmet tour experience at SeaWorld Orlando. So if you are interested in doing that, actually that's at Discovery Cove, which is at SeaWorld. So if you have any interest in that, you can head on over to the website to see that as well. And now we will move on to California. Actually, just real quick, while I'm mentioning all these recent articles over on the website, we also have an article from Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Hollywood in California. I didn't attend that event this year, but we did send a photographer, Jessica Chenoweth, who also was able to send in a review and some video from the event. So if you're interested in Hollywood's version of Horror Nights, find it over on the website. So now, enough with the article summary. Let's get to some California news, where Electronica at Disney California Adventure is now back. It's reactivated, as Disney calls it. It was gone for a couple of weeks while Disney made some minor adjustments, but nothing groundbreaking, but it is back. So if you're a Tron fan of Electronica, you can now head back to California Adventure to enjoy that. And let's jump overseas now, where listener Christian wrote in and let me know that Captain EO at Disneyland Paris is actually reducing its operating hours to weekends only over the next few months, which is interesting to see that the Captain EO phenomenon, the return, the tribute version of it is already, it sounds like, dying in popularity overseas. We'll have to see what the future of that is for Disneyland, as well as out here Walt Disney World at Epcot, which I can't imagine it's horribly popular, but can't be any less popular than Honey, I Shrunk the Audience was before it. So we'll see how long Michael Jackson stays in the parks for his comeback, if you will. Let's move on to the world of movies now, where The Lion King in 3D has actually extended its theatrical run. It was supposed to only be for 2 weeks in the theaters in 3D, but because it was doing so very, very well, being #1 at the box office for the first 2 weekends, Disney has decided to extend it, although it's not guaranteed to be extended in all theaters, so you're going to want to check your local theater listings to see if you still have a chance to see The Lion King in 3D. If not, and you have a 3D TV at home, just a couple of days from now on October 4th, this Tuesday, is when The Lion King in 3D is coming home on Blu-ray and on DVD. It's not the 3D version, but they are re-releasing it out of the Disney vault, as they say, coming home, but now with the 3D version as well. I already have a copy. In fact, it's lying around here on my desk somewhere, and sorry, just turning away from the microphone here so I can grab it and show it to everybody who is watching. There it is, Lion King in 3D. Haven't had a chance to pop it in yet, but I definitely plan to very, very soon, so I can get a review up on the website of that. I also have a copy of Beauty and the Beast on 3D, which is going to be also coming out this week. So if you're a 3D fan, 3D conversion, classic movies, that kind of thing, then this will be your opportunity to enjoy those at home. And I don't believe there are any plans to release Beauty and the Beast in 3D in theaters. And speaking of releases, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, the 4th Pirates of the Caribbean film, is coming out home release October 18th, just a couple of weeks from now on Blu-ray and DVD. There's actually quite a few different releases, versions that you'll be able to buy. There's a 2-disc combo pack, which is Blu-ray and DVD. There's a limited edition 5-disc combo pack, and that's got 3D and Blu-ray and digital copy, etc. There's a 15-disc 4-movie collection. You're going to get all the movies, including the newest one in 3D and everything in Blu-ray, and that 15-disc one is $170. Not cheap, but you do get a whole bunch of stuff. You get an extra Blu-ray disc with some a never-before-seen short film called Wedlocked. It also includes a replica pirate's chest, a collectible map, and an iconic skull disc case. And then, let's see what else. There's a high-definition movie download available, and then you can even download it in 3D. So lots and lots of different options if you are looking for the new Pirates film as well as the old. And Disney, sometimes I receive press releases that don't quite click properly, and this is one of those. It's a great idea what they've done here, but the headline... I received a press release. Okay, this is 2 days ago. It was still September at the time, and the email came in and said just in time for the holiday season. And I don't think they were talking about Halloween. Yeah, Christmas, September, a little bit early there. But regardless of that, the release was about a new Disney Store app for iPad, iPhone, and iPod Touch, as they put it, to jumpstart the holiday shopping season. So if you're looking to do a little Christmas shopping now, then you can go download this new free Disney Store app at itunes.com/apps/Disney Store. It has everything you would think out of a Disney Store app. You can check out all the products and, browse things, search for things, filter everything. You can, of course, buy stuff on there, and you can even share what you've bought on Twitter and Facebook via the app. Here's something interesting in the world of research that came out this week. Disney often extends its hands into various universities and researchers around the country to help in various projects. And they've been working with Carnegie Mellon researchers along with Disney Research in Pittsburgh. And the project they've been working on is to try to model more accurate eye blinks in animation, which is really interesting. They're kind of talking about this notion where you do, let's say, not motion capture, but it's sort of this photorealistic animation, and yet something looks a little creepy about the humans because they're not moving totally lifelike, and it just gives you kind of this creepy vibe when you're watching them. Well, they're trying to identify what about that is making it sort of off-putting, and particularly in the eyes. And apparently, from their research, they say when you blink, you actually don't blink the same amount of time downward. Your eyelid goes down as it goes up. So I don't remember the details, or I don't have the details exactly how long it takes, but it takes, less time for you to blink upwards than downwards, or vice versa. Regardless, the point is to make animation more realistic and more enjoyable for the viewer without entirely realizing why it's like that. So just kind of an interesting research project there. And, that would certainly apply for audio animatronics as well as animation. And speaking of audio animatronics, for you animatronics fans out there, there's a TV show premiering tonight on Travel Channel that you may be interested in. It's called Making Monsters, and it's perfect for the Halloween season. It's a short-term reality show. I think it's only going to be 4 episodes long each Sunday throughout this month. They're following a company called Distortions Unlimited, who create these very impressive audio animatronics for Halloween haunts all over the world. And so this show will kind of give you a behind-the-scenes look at how these animatronic figures are created, and should be pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing it tonight. And speaking of TV shows, I also received an email from the National Geographic Channel reminding me of another show that is premiering tonight at 8 p.m. on Nat Geo. A few, I want to say weeks, but it may have even been a few months ago, you might remember a hugely popular video that I posted of the creation of the Up house, the house from Disney Pixar's Up. But not only just the house, they actually took it and attached big balloons to it, and they flew it through the sky. And that was kind of a phenomenon on the internet unto itself. Well, now the show that they did that for, that they filmed that for, is going to be on TV. So if you want to see the Up house flying through the air and how they actually achieved lifting a real house through the air courtesy of balloons, then you're going to want to tune into Nat Geo tonight at 8 p.m. And that's it for your news from around the world this week. This week's tip comes in from Gary, who writes, when using a rental car on your trip to Walt Disney World, it is best to refill your gas tank on property, one of the 2 Hess stations or any other local station before returning it to the airport. The gas stations surrounding Orlando International Airport have the highest gas prices in the country. Suncoast Gas, that openly preys on those who choose to wait to fill up right before the rental car is returned, is charging $5.39 a gallon, with surrounding stations around the same price. And if a rental car is topped off before you leave Walt Disney World, the gauge will still be full when the car is returned. Rental cars do not need to be pinned to the wall. Even if that was the case when it was picked up, they are marked at full. There is no above full mark. The prices on property are also not that far off from surrounding off-site prices. Gary, definitely an excellent tip. I'm pretty sure I've shared that before at some point, but it's worth repeating, especially as gas prices are actually dropping in recent weeks, which is a wonderful thing. I'm happy to see those prices, even though they're still very high in the $3 whatever range. But to have it going down and down is a good thing, and then to also get really well-priced gas on Walt Disney World property at those Hess stations that you mentioned is definitely an excellent tip. Everyone else out there, send your tips into tips@insidethemagic.net. And before we jump into this week's main feature, I want to put in a quick word, as I always do, about Lanyard Lab. If you've got a business that you're looking to promote, or maybe a school you need to wear IDs around your neck, or you're at a church or a convention or anywhere that you really want to have something to promote or wear those name tags, custom lanyards, best way to do it, because you can put your logo, your colors, your text, whatever you want right there on the material, and we will do that for you. Best way to do it, head over to lanyardlab.com. Fill out the quote request form. You can submit all your details to us that way, and we will email you back with a price quote along with the proof showing you what the lanyards will look like. Place your order online from there. It is as simple as that. So check it out over at lanyardlab.com. And happy anniversary, happy birthday, happy whatever you want to call it, 40th anniversary to Walt Disney World, celebrating just yesterday, October 1st, 2011. Definitely a big day, and many flocked to the Magic Kingdom to celebrate this milestone. And there was a decent amount of celebration to be had. I was there first thing in the morning, October 1st, 2011. Also eager to help Walt Disney World at the Magic Kingdom celebrate this occasion as guests entered into the park. There were a couple of fun things being given out. The first, X number of guests to show up to the Magic Kingdom got special buttons, 40th anniversary buttons. There were also special guide maps being given out at the park that the cover of the guide maps looked like the old ticket books, and inside was a retro-style map of the Magic Kingdom, along with some photos of some old attractions that were there. Little Orange Bird is on there, and just one of those nice retro touches that made everybody excited to be at the Magic Kingdom 40 years to the day after it opened so many years ago, becoming Central Florida's first theme park, and plenty of history to be found certainly in the past 40 years. Much has grown up and around the entire Central Florida area. It really made Orlando what it is today as a result of Disney moving everything in here and buying up the land and creating what we know now as Walt Disney World, with its 4 theme parks and so much more to offer. And all of that was in celebration there yesterday. Now, before I get into all of the celebration, before it actually took place there at the Magic Kingdom, I had a special opportunity to chat with some of Walt Disney World's 40-year veterans who have worked their way through the company over the last 4 decades. They were there when Walt Disney World first opened. Some of them were even with the Disney company prior to Walt Disney World opening, and they definitely had some great stories to share, and we're excited to see the celebration of 4 decades of the Orlando resort. It's certainly great to hear their stories, and I want to share those with you now. Now, I have already posted some of what was seen at the Magic Kingdom over at InsideTheMagic.net, what was seen yesterday, all the celebration, but I have not shared these chats, these interviews with. So I want to take you to actually inside Cosmic Ray's Starlight Cafe, where I had a chance to do a few interviews here with those folks who have been around Walt Disney World for quite some time. First up, Epcot show director Forrest Bahruth will share some stories of long ago, in fact, opening day at the Magic Kingdom. So we're standing here on the 40th anniversary of Disney World. What is your history with working here?
Well, actually, I started in California at Disneyland as a consultant, bringing live entertainment to Disneyland. Came here in 1971, and I was a choreographer. We had a great time putting together all of the events for the opening day, and for us, the opening day actually went all the way through the first month of October with tremendous dedications, all kinds of things going on.
And over the 40 years that Walt Disney World has been here, what are some memorable moments for you? What was the most exciting thing you've seen in 40 years?
Well, I think the opening day was one of the most exciting, but then 23rd, 24th, and 25th of October were all the grand dedication openings. 23rd was the World Symphony Orchestra, Arthur Fiedler, 140 musicians, 70 from around the world, 70 from the United States. First time it had ever happened, huge concert right in front of the castle. And then the 24th was more dedications. I can't remember all of them. I think the Contemporary Hotel. It was a, electrical water pageant. Dedication to Luau with like 300 people at the dancing, all the dances from Polynesia and all of that. Fantasy in the Sky. And then the 25th was the entire dedication of the Magic Kingdom with Roy and all the dignitaries and a huge production number, Fortuosity, choreographed by Ona White, Broadway credits. And a parade. It was the biggest parade we've ever done here. There were more than 5,000 people here that day, including 1,076 marching band members because of 76 trombones, and Meredith Wilson was the conductor for that parade. It was incredible, but it keeps getting better.
So they wanted to really avoid the sort of opening day, hubbub. Sounds like October 1st as a date was a lot quieter than the dedications to come.
Well, we opened with a full menu of entertainment because that's my background, but what we did is there was so much effort, teamwork to get it open for opening day. We realized the dedications we needed to postpone so we'd have that opportunity to prepare a little bit more.
And when opening day came, were there any, hitches? Were there things you had to work around, or did everything flow pretty smoothly?
Everything went exactly as planned because we'd worked so hard, and it was incredible, absolutely incredible morning.
Right, and how do you feel standing here 40 years later for the 40th anniversary? We're about to witness the celebration at the castle.
Well, it's a huge experience to go through 40 years of working here and bringing live entertainment to so many millions of guests. It's a great joy to be able to work for the Disney company.
And so next, after talking to Forrest, I had a chance to speak with Disney legend and former Walt Disney World public relations Charlie Ridgway, who has written a book all about his experiences and always has wonderful stories to tell about his time working at the Walt Disney Company. And here's what he had to say about 40 years of Walt Disney World. We're sitting here on Walt Disney's anniversary. You've obviously been with the Walt Disney Company for quite a number of years. You've become a Disney legend. How do you feel sitting here, so many years later?
Well, it's full of a lot of good memories at this point. 40 years ago today, we were prowling through here with a group of newsmen and whatnot, giving them a first peek at the park before it opened, and then went out in time to welcome the first visitor. The governor, Askew, was here at that point, and we had a relatively small number of people arrived for the opening. 10,000 people seemed like a lot to us, but some people thought it was a distance. So it wasn't until a little later that we really began to welcome the numbers of visitors that we are used to these days.
Well, and then the dedications were a couple of weeks later, right?
Actually, the grand opening was 3 weeks after that, on October 1st. We had picked October 1st as the slowest day of the year, really, to avoid the kind of problems they had at Disneyland when they tried to open in the middle of the summer with a live television show and all the celebrities and everything else.
And all these years later, do you still enjoy coming to the parks?
It still is I enjoy just being here and the soaking up the atmosphere and so forth. It's still a great thrill to be here and remembering so many good things.
And 40 years of Disney history here at the Magic Kingdom. What's your favorite attraction?
Oh, well, as Walt was wont to say, the people. The people who come here, watching the smiles on their faces. I sat up at the Tony's Cafe yesterday for having lunch, and there was a little boy next door. He was so excited he couldn't sit still. And it's that I think with young and old who come here. It's a thrill to be here to fantasize all the history and the imagination that has gone into it. So it's turned out to be everything we could have wanted it to be.
And next up, I spoke with Kevin Myers, who is the current vice president of resort operations, and he not only had a chance to talk about his history of the Walt Disney Company, which started in a very interesting place, but also his current position, and in addition, where the future of the resorts around Walt Disney World are going. How long have you been with Disney? How long have you been here at Walt Disney?
I'm one of those folks that have been here 40 years, actually. I started a couple of weeks before the Magic Kingdom opened. Custodial host actually here in the Magic Kingdom.
That seems to be a common theme. A lot of people start in custodial or parking lot trams or that kind of thing and just work their way up in the company. It seems like a unique opportunity to really get to an amazing position if you just put in the time and effort.
Yeah, I think you'll find a theme for all of us. We all needed a job, and that was probably the theme at the time for me, certainly. And so ended up here in the Magic Kingdom. Of course, had one theme park, and back then we had three hotels. Actually, one of those was a campground. And so I worked here for 9 months and then moved over to resorts and have been 39 years now in the resort part of the business. So it's been a lot of fun and a lot of change over the 40 years.
Well, in that change over all that time, what have you seen as the most kind of exciting, or for you personally, what did you really enjoy seeing over the last 40 years?
Yeah, I think it's probably, I'll tell you, is the growth. So Walt had this sort of idea about Walt Disney World, and that idea has really gone beyond, I think, anything that he imagined. Certainly he dreamed of the Magic Kingdom. He dreamed of a place called Epcot. And the first few resorts that we'd have on property, but to think that we've got 4 theme parks now with a whole variety of things for people to enjoy, and nearly 30 resorts, 26,000 rooms, rooms of every type, whether it's a value room that somebody's looking for or the best that we have in our deluxe properties, the Grand Floridian being the top of those. So there's something here certainly for everyone. So,
well, over the 40 years of working in resorts, how do you make that next change? When is it time to it's in time for a new hotel, or do you watch the numbers of tourists coming and decide, okay, we need more room?
Yeah, it's all about demand, right? We tried something recently to that example. Something called a family suite that we did at All-Star Resort, and about 300 rooms, very popular. It allows multi-generational travel, so a single room you can sleep 6 people in it, so it accommodates larger families wanting to travel together. because of its popularity, we're going to be opening this place called Disney's Art of Animation here in May. And so almost all of that resort actually is going to be these family suites to accommodate that. So it's all about demand, sensing what our guests are looking for, and making sure that we've got a Disney product that matches that.
How is the progress on Art of Animation coming?
It's doing fabulous. Yeah, we begin to open, phase 1 actually in May, so everything is exactly where you'd like for it to be. So it's going to be a great opening.
Standing here on the 40th anniversary of the Magic Kingdom, how do you feel?
It's fabulous. Yeah, I remember as I'm walking through the park today what it was like day one when the first guests actually, ran through the park. Some of them walked to get to their favorite attraction, and it's great to be back again to see it all, and to think that it's 4 decades old is just amazing.
A few folks who were there when it all started out here in Orlando, when the very first theme park in Central Florida had opened up, and it was, of course, the Magic Kingdom, and all of that was said just yesterday morning, the morning of October 1st, minutes before we all made our way over to Cinderella Castle for a very special performance. Now, in the morning, surprisingly, there were large crowds, but it wasn't an overwhelming number. Some had predicted the Magic Kingdom would fill to a capacity on this October 1st for the 40th anniversary, and in the morning, it didn't seem like that was going to be the case. There was certainly a very large crowd who had shown up outside the turnstiles as early as 6 a.m. actually to not only have a chance to get inside, but to buy plenty of merchandise. And those who were buying the merchandise went over in a special line and lined up in Frontierland. I later looked over into that line and was just amazed by the sheer number of people who were standing out there in the sun and just waiting to buy some of the merchandise that was there. But that aside, it seemed like a very reasonable number of people who showed up for the Cinderella Castle special presentation in the morning. It was certainly a sea of people, don't get me wrong, all over the hub and the surrounding area leading up down Main Street. It was certainly packed with people, everybody eager to see what would follow, which began at about 9:45 in the morning. And the first presentation of the morning was a performance where actually the two current Walt Disney World ambassadors came out on stage on the Cinderella Castle forecourt stage to start everything off, because there was actually a character processional slowly making its way down Main Street, and that began around 9:45. So for those in Town Square, got to see, I believe it was 40 characters in honor of the 40th anniversary begin to make their way down the street. None of those, really old or rare characters like people had rumored and thought that perhaps was going to be showing up at the Magic Kingdom for this ceremony. That didn't happen. It was characters that you can fairly regularly see in the park, but regardless, it was fun to see those. But while everybody in the hub area was waiting, the ambassadors introduced a special performance that nobody, I don't think, was expecting. It was the Main Street Philharmonic, which is the marching band for the Magic Kingdom, and they came out on stage and they played a fun set of songs, a medley of Disney songs, and I want to share a bit with you right now.
Please help me welcome the Main Street Philharmonic!
So we'll let the band continue to play in the background here while I talk a little bit more about what was going on during the morning there. The band was playing on Cinderella Castle stage, and everybody was standing and enjoying it, but really looking forward to what was to come, because Disney had said there was going to be, of course, a special presentation right there on the Cinderella Castle forecourt stage. No one knew exactly what that presentation would entail. We were all highly anticipating all the characters coming down the way and looking forward to the musical performance and everything else that would be showing up next. So right about 10 o'clock in the morning, October 1st, 2011, of course, is when the remainder, the bulk of the ceremony took place. Now, ultimately, this ceremony seemed a little unfulfilling for some that were hoping for more, something a little bit grander along the scale of previous celebrations. Epcot 25th just a few years ago certainly had a great and appropriate ceremony there, but regardless, it was still quite entertaining there on the Cinderella Castle stage, and I want to share that with you right now. So let's hop back on over to the Magic Kingdom, standing in front of Cinderella Castle, big banner on the side, or on the front rather, of Cinderella Castle saying 40 magical years, and here it is, the celebration of 40 years of Walt Disney World.
From 1996, remember the magic. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome Walt Disney World ambassadors Jennifer Mason and Norman Verschulta.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jennifer Mason, one of the two members of the Walt Disney World Ambassador team, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to Magic Kingdom Park at Walt Disney World. Now, Walt Disney World Resort has been home to literally millions of celebrations over the years, but this morning, we are taking a few moments to celebrate the resort herself. Now, you see, it was 40 years ago this morning, here at this park, that Walt Disney World welcomed its very first guests. We're hoping you will take just a few short moments to celebrate with us. And here to set the stage, I would like to welcome my teammate, Walt Disney World Ambassador Norman Verschulta.
Good morning, everyone, and happy birthday, Walt Disney World! Now let's see, who do we have here this morning? How many of you, by show of hands, were here 40 years ago for opening day? Give yourselves a hand! Now how many of you are here for the very first time today? Give yourselves a hand! Well, you picked a good time to visit. For those of you who were here in 1971, let me take you for a walk down memory lane. That morning, If you filled up your car, your gas cost 36 cents a gallon. As you drove here, you were probably listening to Simon and Garfunkel. That's right. And if you had the big bucks, you were listening to them in style on an 8-track. The guests who visited here on opening day were greeted by our very excited cast members. We had 5,500 of them as compared to the 62,000 we have today. And now, I would like to introduce you to the person who leads those 62,000 cast members. Please help me welcome the President, Walt Disney Parks and Resorts Operations, United States and France, and the President of Walt Disney World, Meg Crofton.
Wow, what a great group this morning. Good morning and happy birthday, Walt Disney World. You know, whether you were here 40 years ago or today is the first time you walked down Main Street, USA, we are so glad that you are here. We're thrilled to have you with us as our guests on this, our 40th anniversary. Within our company, there's a story that when Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color television program was being filmed, the producers wanted a shot of Walt Disney walking down an empty Main Street at Disneyland before the park was open. Walt did something that was very much out of character for him. He refused to do that. To Walt Disney, people were the essential element of his parks. You've probably heard his famous quote, "You can dream, create, plan, and build the most wonderful place in the world, but it takes people to make the dream a reality." Many people hear that and assume that Walt was talking about our cast members, and he was. But he was also talking about our guests. For this place to be truly magical, it takes your smiles and your laughter, the joy of meeting a princess, or the excitement of becoming a pirate. So by being here today, you are helping make this dream, Walt Disney World, a reality. And for that, we sincerely thank you. We thank you, too, for giving us a reason to grow over the last 40 years. That first year, and indeed that first decade, the Magic Kingdom was the only park here. And we only offered 3 choices to stay: the Contemporary, the Polynesian, and Fort Wilderness. We've grown by leaps and bounds since then, but the fact remains that this place, as it appeared on October 1st, 1971, was the last great vision of one of the world's greatest dreamers. And while Walt never set foot in this finished park, he walked it many times in his imagination. Walt's brother Roy acknowledged that fact when he dedicated this park and called it not Disney World, as it had been known throughout its planning, but Walt Disney World. Here, in front of Cinderella Castle, you can't help but notice our partner statue. It depicts Walt together with Mickey, the mouse who started it all. Later today, I hope you'll also stop at the other end of Main Street. There, just to the side of City Hall, you'll find our statue of Roy, relaxing on a park bench with Minnie. And just across the street, in Town Square, you'll find a plaque that contains the remarks which Roy dedicated on opening day for Walt Disney World. And here is what it says. Walt Disney World is a tribute to the philosophy and life of Walter Elias Disney, and to the talents, the dedication, and the loyalty of the entire Disney organization that made Walt Disney's dream come true. May Walt Disney World bring joy and inspiration and new knowledge to all who come to this happy place, a magic kingdom where the young at heart of all ages can laugh and play and learn together. Many memories have been created in this park. We appreciate you being here this morning to share this one. And now, to share his memories of the Magic Kingdom, I'd like to welcome someone who was a cast member here on opening day in 1971, taking e-tickets at the entrance to the Haunted Mansion. Since then, he has built a distinguished career here and earned the admiration of both our cast and our guests. He is now a Walt Disney World Vice President and the leader of our Magic Kingdom. Please welcome Phil Holmes.
Good morning. Well, you couldn't ask for a better day to celebrate our 40th anniversary. This is truly spectacular. So I did want to share just a couple of great memories. This is, believe it or not, it is much easier than you would think for me to recall that magical day in 1971. And I can easily remember our guests coming right down Main Street, USA, like all of you did today. I was waiting for them as you went over this bridge right next door, right at the Haunted Mansion at the turnstiles. And I can tell you candidly, the thing I worried about the most was that ticket book, that A through E ticket book, right? I think you've got that as a in your guide map today. You can remember that. So for me, it was all about that E ticket was, I know, very special and very coveted. But I really was trying to make sure I did all the right things for our guests. So as a cast member, I was really focused on what was going to make this really the most magical experience. And I had a great leader that gave me some wonderful advice. And he said to me, Phil, what I want you to do is make sure every one of the guests that comes in with their families, make sure they just have a fantastic time. Make sure they're having fun. He goes, we'll figure out that ticket thing as we go. So for anybody that was here on that opening day, if you visited the Haunted Mansion and you got in on an A ticket, you're welcome. So as you'd expect, the Haunted Mansion still has great touches in my heart, and I'm able to share it with my grandchildren now, so it's something that will always be very special to me. But I think the other thing that's very special, as Walt said, you know, we'll never be done. As long as there's imagination left in the world, we'll always be doing new and wonderful things. So certainly if you go to the Haunted Mansion today, there's new magic being created by our Imagineers as we speak. And I would tell you the cast members today are even better at creating magical moments for all of you than I think we were even in 1971. So that legacy continues on. I think the other great example sits behind us in Fantasyland. The new Fantasyland, I know you are going to love and will be another part of that legacy that goes on and on. So with that, again, I wanted to thank you all for coming out. I wanted to thank you for celebrating with the day. Let you know just how special it means for every one of the cast members throughout, all 62,000 cast members. They're really the folks that make the magic happen. They're the ones that all of the letters that come in to my desk, that's what they talk about. So we appreciate them. We know you do too, and we love having you here to celebrate with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil, very much for sharing your special memories with us.
Well, our celebration is almost finished, but before we finish it, we would love to complete it with a little help from all of you. We invite you to sing along with some very special performers this morning. Please help me welcome the Dapper Dans!
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. We are so proud to be part of this celebration today, especially since the Dapper Dans and the marching band both were here opening day. So, let's sing When You Wish Upon a Star together. Everybody know the words? All right then, here we go.
If your heart is in your dream,
And with that, the ceremony concluded, and, the characters stuck around on stage there for a few minutes for some photo ops, but certainly not one-on-one. There were no big character meet and greets, no retro characters, none of that that many thought were going to appear for the 40th celebration. And while that ceremony was certainly entertaining and a good one, and it's always great, it was great to see Phil Holmes, Vice President of Magic Kingdom, up there, because I've actually never even seen him before. He never seems to come out of the utilidors, because he's always a very busy guy. Certainly has a lot going on all the time with running the Magic Kingdom. So it was good to see him up on stage. But looking forward, I think people were expecting a little bit more out of this celebration. Certainly, as the day went on, really nothing else happened during the day at the Magic Kingdom. A lot of people certainly stuck around throughout the park, throughout the day, and stayed. And, they were just hanging around. There were no surprises. There were some cupcakes, some special merchandise. The cupcakes apparently sold out, and as did much of the merchandise. And, of course, you had to wait in very, very long lines to even buy any of the merchandise. And so really the souvenir that we walked out with, and most people walked out with, was the special guide maps and the buttons that I said that they were giving out. And then as well, for anyone watching on the video version of this, you can see behind me all these wonderful blue and gold streamers that are everywhere, and I was, of course, videoing that whole ceremony, and one of them actually landed in my hand as I was recording. So, so I was able to bring that home. A neat little souvenir, I suppose, but nothing spectacular. And then the only other scheduled event for the night, for the day, was at night, commemorating the 40th. Disney had said that they were going to run a special version of the Wishes fireworks show, which happens, of course, every night. And so I had actually left because nothing else was going on during the day. I had left and then returned for Wishes, only to find that there was no extra fireworks tag like there was during the Epcot 25th, where they had this really, really amazing finale, extra bonus finale after the Illuminations fireworks there. They didn't do that, unfortunately, with Wishes. Instead, they added some perimeter fireworks to about 3 sections of the show, including the finale, and it was impressive to see perimeter fireworks worked into the Wishes show, but that was really the only special edition. Disney had not exactly clarified what they would be adding to the show, but it was everybody was expecting a little bit more afterwards, so that was a bit disappointing. What was even crazier was when I had returned to the Magic Kingdom that night, last night, the night of October 1st, it was far, far, far more crowded than it was during the day. Apparently, crowds had been pouring in all day long, continuous flow of guests all day long, and what went from a kind of average Saturday crowd at the Magic Kingdom just became a sea of people by the end of the night. It was a combination of the weather being very nice. It was also a marathon weekend this weekend. It was a special day at the Magic Kingdom, and the park was open until midnight, which of course means it was open later than any of the other parks. So anybody who had gone to, Epcot or Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom for the day ended up pouring into the Magic Kingdom by the end of the night, and it was more crowded than I have ever seen that park. The crowd after the Wishes fireworks show had ended literally was at a standstill, could not move on Main Street and around the hub area. It was complete gridlock through the area. There was absolutely no crowd control, unfortunately, because there really was no way to control that number of people. It was both an impressive sight and a slightly worrisome sight for those who were trying to, of course, they're, making their way through with strollers and wheelchairs, and then people just on foot. I was just trying to walk actually into the park, where tens of thousands of people were all trying to leave the park simultaneously, and just for me to walk from maybe 3/4 of the way down Main Street to the other side of the hub probably took me about 20 minutes, maybe even longer, just because I had to slowly shuffle my way through. Fortunately, eventually it all did work itself out, and everybody got out eventually. But it was definitely it became a very, very crowded by the end of the day anniversary. But overall, you know, it was a fun day. Certainly a tiring day for those who had been there since the very beginning of the morning, all the way up until the end of the day in order to see the fireworks and then some, and then possibly staying till midnight as well. But I had fun, and the ceremony was nice, and it made me really look forward to what they're going to do in another 10 years for the 50th anniversary of everything. But you know what? Between now and then, there's certainly a lot going on at Walt Disney World, and as it was mentioned there in the ceremony at the castle, the biggest project going on at the Magic Kingdom right now, of course, is New Fantasyland, the Fantasyland expansion. And along with the interviews that you heard just a little bit ago, I also had a chance to talk with Walt Disney Imagineer Chris Beatty, who is one of the leads, or if not the lead, the creative lead on the Fantasyland expansion, and just wanted to get an update on how that project was going. And so now I bring you a quick chat with Imagineer Chris Beatty. So here we are on the 40th anniversary of the Magic Kingdom, with you being the creative director of this massive, biggest ever expansion of the park. How does it on 40 years after opening day and being in charge of that?
I mean, it's quite an honor, not just being here for the 40th anniversary of the Magic Kingdom, but also having the honor to work on a Fantasyland. And I think most Imagineers would tell you it's not every day that we get to come in and revision, which is probably the heart of a Magic Kingdom experience or a Castle Park experience. So quite an honor, quite an honor.
So how is the project going? I mean, obviously guests are pouring through watching the construction unfold, but from the other side of the wall, is it progressing, nice and smoothly, exactly as planned?
Yeah, I think the team is very, very happy. The attention to detail is amazing, and we're really, really excited. I mean, we can't wait to get the walls down and let guests come in and see it. I could not be happier with how we're performing. I think it's great. The Little Mermaid attraction, I was just walking through there the other night and just in awe of the finish and the rock work and those little storytelling moments that the Imagineers are putting into that attraction. It's going to be just spectacular.
Well, speaking of the Little Mermaid, I've been on the one in California. Love the ride. It's fantastic. Looking forward to getting it here, but I understand there's going to be some differences as you approach it and go through the queue. Can you talk a little bit about sort of the interactivity, the scuttle scavenger hunt, and that sort of thing?
Yes, I think the big difference is just the facade itself. I mean, the approach and the story setup. Here you'll come up to Prince Eric's castle. That's the icon. You'll make that left turn. You go down under the into the grotto area. That whole sequence is different than Disney's California Adventure, where they're set up really on a boardwalk and they celebrate that exposition story. Here you're in that moment where you're going down under the sea. It's that moment right as Prince Eric's ship leaves the harbor and the story picks up with Ariel swimming over this top of the ocean and down into the grotto. So that whole journey and that takes place for our guests is going to be completely different than DCA. The queue, yes, the queue will have some sort of interactive element to it. We're still working on it. We haven't defined it yet. As you know, Imagineers are always kind of tweaking and changing, and I really can't share a whole lot about that right now. But there will be a very fun kind of interactive kids element along the way as you journey under the sea.
Well, you mentioned Belle, even if accidentally, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Beauty and the Beast area, particularly the Be Our Guest restaurant. It's certainly interesting that you're going to be going from, quick service in the day to table service at night. How is that transition going to work? Is it going to be the same, cuisine from one to the other?
Right now they just started looking at what the menu might be. It will definitely switch in time of day. But other than the place will stay the same. There won't be any big changes in the facility itself or the show itself. But no, we just started working on what the menu might be for both.
Excellent. And then other than that, there's also an elaborate Belle meet and greet, which we saw at the D23 Expo recently, this really incredible preview of Lumiere animatronic. Is he almost ready to go?
He's looking great. The dailies are fantastic, and Imagineers working hand in hand with feature animation. So there's a great partnership there in really bringing him to life. We actually brought in one of the original animators for Lumiere, and he's been working with us. So we can really capture the spirit of him and his movement, making sure we're as close to his personality as we can get from the original film.
Now, we also saw at the expo a lot about the the Seven Dwarves mine coaster that's coming in, and I was curious, it seems like the story is focusing on the Seven Dwarves rather than Snow White. Is it really going to be focused on the Seven Dwarves? Are we not going to see Snow White and the Evil Queen and all that at all?
Snow White and the Queen will make an appearance, yes, they will be there.
So fans of the current Snow White attraction will still get some element of that, but with some extra thrill?
Yes.
Excellent. And one more area of Fantasyland, of course, next door, Storybook Circus. I believe that's going to be the first area to be opening?
It'll be one of the next areas that open up, yes.
Do you have a time frame for that coming around?
No, we haven't set that date yet. That's still moving around, too.
Okay. But when that opens, then guests will be able to re-experience the Barnstormer in its new fashion and plenty of other interesting things in there.
Yeah, the land will have Dumbo, the flying elephant, of course, and as everyone knows, we're doubling Dumbo. And then the Barnstormer will get a new facelift, a new story overlay. That'll be it's still going to be called the Barnstormer, but it'll feature Goofy as the Great Goofini. He'll be the stunt man of the circus. There'll be a new meet and greet there as well that we're just starting to work on. We haven't locked that down yet. And then, of course, there's a Casey Jr. train that sits out in front of the train station. That's a little interactive play area.
And one more question. If you were about, 8 years old or so, and New Fantasyland was just opening, what would you be looking forward to experiencing most?
I'd run right to the coaster. I think the Mine Coaster is going to be something very unique and different. And kids of all ages, adults, everyone will love it. It's got a little bit of something for everyone, really.
Great. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks.
Thank you.
So there you have it. Just a quick update on the new Fantasyland expansion as it is going on at the Magic Kingdom. Of course, much to be unveiled there still. It's going to open, little by little in phases over the next, year and a half to 2 years or so. Well into 2013 is when it's going to completely wrap up with the Little Mermaid ride and the Be Our Guest restaurant, as we were just talking about, and Storybook Circus and plenty more to be found throughout that experience. So it'll be fun to keep watching that ahead as we commemorate this weekend marking 40 years of the Magic Kingdom and of Walt Disney World. And of course, speaking of 40 years, as I mentioned earlier, just a couple of nights ago, was the 40th anniversary of the Haunted Mansion, one of the opening day attractions out here at Walt Disney World, and it's next week that we'll be talking about 40 years of the Haunted Mansion with a bit from that event. But for now, happy anniversary to Walt Disney World. And along the same lines as the Haunted Mansion event, it is, of course, October, and it's Halloween season. And every year, that means something very special here on Inside the Magic. Oh, man, is it dark and creepy in here. Ow! Now, of course my flashlight would be losing battery power. Come on. I knew I should have come to this old storage locker in the daytime. What was that? Come on, Ricky. Get a grip. Now, I know I put them in here somewhere. Nope. No, not in there. Oh, wait. I think I found it. Ah, here it is. And just get all these gross cobwebs off. After these old smelly newspapers. Almost there. Ah.
Oh, hey Ricky. How's it going?
Hey Jay, dust yourself off, man. It's almost time for a backstage pass. Halloween is coming.
What? It is? Already? Well, sure. Let me just find Mark and we'll get right on it. Coming later this month, the Halloween edition of Backstage Pass for 2011, only on Inside the Magic.
And all of you longtime Inside the Magic listeners should recognize those voices. That's right, Jay and Mark will be back once again with an episode of Backstage Pass for the first time in a year, so you can look forward to that coming up sometime later this month in October, just in time for Halloween. And that will do it for this week's show. We're going to skip listener feedback because I've only got a couple of emails and the show's running long and got to eat some dinner and all that kind of thing. So we'll wrap it up here. Hopefully you enjoyed our celebration of the 40th anniversary of Walt Disney World. It was enjoyable to be there yesterday, even if all the rumors didn't come true. It was still a fun celebration, and it's always good to go to the park. I mean, you can't complain about that in any bit. Next week, as I said, we'll be talking about the recent Haunted Mansion events and moving a little more Halloween fun from around Walt Disney World. So always a good time. Enjoyable. So I do want to thank Magical Travel for sponsoring this week's episode of Inside the Magic. You can find out more about their services by visiting magicaltravel.com. I also want to mention that you, if you like podcasts, which hopefully you do, if you're listening to this one, you're going to enjoy Audible, and you can get a free trial from Audible over at audibletrial.com/InsideTheMagic. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful. We'll try that one more time. audibletrial.com/InsideTheMagic. That's where you can get your free trial and access to over 85,000 audiobooks and fun titles. And you support Inside the Magic by checking out the free preview as well. So thank you very much for that. And visit us over at lanyardlab.com to see all of the different styles and custom lanyard options that we have available. You can request a price quote today and receive a free digital preview of your lanyard design. Of course, between episodes of this podcast, you can visit InsideTheMagic.net. It is your source for Disney and theme park news. Lots of videos and photos and news and articles and all kinds of good stuff. Find us on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and keep up with all the latest theme park fun between these shows. So thank you to all of you for listening and for watching and for chatting and for visiting the website and all of that good stuff, and for saying hi in the parks too. It's great to meet all of you whenever you're out for these special events. So that's it. We're going to wrap up the show there. Have a magical week. Bye.
Just a dream away. So there's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Just a dream away.